Hello everyone, Ron Johnson here from L.T.L Tutoring Central, and if you're looking for tips and strategies to help with your learning, you are in the right place. Before you answer, what am I talking about today? I'm talking primarily about if you're helping your children with their homework or with their studies. However, these same tips apply to ourselves, so we can ask ourselves the same questions, we can prompt ourselves in the same way. So often when you are trying to help your children with their homework, they simply want the answer. What is the answer? How do I do this? And those are good questions, but what you don't want to do is jump in and give the answer right away, give the final answer right away. What is better is to lead them to the answer, to try to direct them toward the answer. In other words, you want them to engage with the material. And if you're thinking about your own studies, you want to engage yourself with the material. You're not just looking for the answer, you're looking at the process, you're looking at the way or the avenue or the journey to get to the answer. And that's very, very important. So here are a few questions to ask before you give the answer. Have they read and understood the directions? And those are two different things. A lot of people, young students, but even older adult students, don't read the directions. They skip over the directions, or they have a cursory look at the directions, but they don't read them thoroughly and they don't pay attention to them. So make sure that they have read the directions, and then have they understood the directions. So again, there's a difference, because they might have been able to read the directions, or you might be able to read the directions, but did you understand what the directions are asking you to do and how to do it? That's a different ball of wax. So one method that you can use is have them tell you what they're going to do after they've read the directions, either to themselves or aloud. Now you know they can read the directions. Have them tell you what the procedure is, or what they need to do first, second, third, etc. If they can't do that, then they probably didn't really understand the directions, or maybe they didn't read them all the way through if they were reading to themselves. So you have to return to that point and read the directions again. You might need to help them to understand the directions. You might need to help them even read the directions. If they're younger students, of course, they might not be able to read all the words in the directions. But you need to know where this is breaking down, where are the problems. So it's not necessarily at the end, it may be at the very beginning. Another question you want to ask is, have they thought about the subject? Have they spent any time on it at all? I know that I work with lots of students, and immediately they ask for the answer. They haven't thought about the question, they haven't thought about the directions, they haven't looked at the examples that are provided. This is all often provided with the directions. Uh, so they really haven't thought about the subject at all, or about the question. If it's a math question, for example, they haven't engaged with it. They haven't thought about it themselves. You want them to think about it themselves first. You don't simply want to be giving answers all the time, because then they haven't really committed themselves to the learning part of the process. They're just, you might as well just give them the answer sheet. That's really what you're doing. You're basically saying, here's the questions, here's the answer sheet, just copy this over to here. That's not really learning. That's not helping them very much. So sometimes you think you're helping, but you're not really helping by just simply giving answers all the time. If someone always is asking how to spell a word and you're telling them every single time, it's possible after a number of repetitions they might learn, but it's also possible that they know they can just ask, so they won't bother to learn. Same with math problems. You have to work all the way through it. Here's the next question. Have they made an honest effort? Have they attempted to answer the question, whether that's a written answer to English or geography or science, or if it's a math problem? Have they started to work on the problem? There might be several steps. There often are. Have they at least done the first step or the second step? If not, that's where they need to begin. If they don't know exactly what to do and they don't realize that adding is the first step or multiplying, you can say, well, first you have to multiply. But don't multiply it for them. Let them multiply it. Then you can move on to the next step. I know that this sounds like a long process, and it can be, but it's not always. The idea is to get it into their heads or into your own, if you're talking about your own studies, that these are things you have to do to learn. Learning is not an end product. You get to an end product, but then you find out there's lots more that you don't know, so you never really get there. But you're working towards goals. But that's the whole point. You're working toward it. There's a process. There's a series of steps and journeys that you have to go through for yourself, and your children need to go through for themselves in order for you to really be learning and to be achieving those goals more or less independently. Of course, you can assist your children, and of course, you can seek help for yourself if you require it. If the directions are not clear, if you just don't understand the examples, it's not coming through for you, obviously seek out some assistance from a teacher. There are some good online resources. You can access a tutor such as myself to help you in certain areas. There's no problem with that. That's exactly what you should do. It's one of the tools in your toolbox, as I say. However, do so after you have made an honest effort on your own. You've read the directions, you've tried your best to understand the directions, and you've given some effort to the question before you go looking for the final answer. Look for guidance, but not always the final answer. That's your job. So, that's what I have to say about before you answer, because often I have parents who want to be very helpful for their children. They want their children to succeed, and they're sometimes too quick to just provide them with answers. It does get through the homework a lot faster, but the child hasn't learned very much, if anything at all. So make sure that you ask those questions and follow through. And if you're learning for yourself, obviously you want to do the same thing. All right, I will put a link below for the blog and also for the website. You can leave comments if you're watching this on YouTube or questions. You can also email me. Just check out the website and send an email. Actually, the email's right there too, tutoringcentral@inbox.com. Also, don't forget about the book, Teach Myself, Teach Myself. Check it out. It has a lot of the tips and strategies that we talk about in a nice short, consolidated book that can help you and your child with learning. In the meantime, keep having fun and keep learning. It's Ron Johnson from L.T.L Tutoring Central. Bye-bye for now. A quick look at the subscribe button, the notification bell, of course the thumbs up for like if you like the video, and there's the website www.tutoringcentral.com, and email me at tutoringcentral@inbox.com.